Hello and welcome to another beautiful edition of Locker Room Voice of the People TV. I am your host, Jerry Apeliohai, reporting for football duties, and we've got a thrilling show for you today. Of course, joining me are the usual suspects, talking about Ikechukwu makes a return, and Mayowa gets to join us virtually, and we're ready to break down all the action and share the hot takes as far as football is concerned. So stay tuned, subscribe for those who are watching us via the YouTube platform, and turn on that notification bell. Also, don't forget to call us via the WhatsApp number showing on your screen to join the conversation. And those who are watching us on LCTV channel 264 definitely will also entertain your comments. And of course, do the needful in telling us where you're calling from whenever you join us on the show. All right. Ikechukwu, it's great to have you join us once again. So many things happening in the transfer window, the Club World Cup, and of course, the Super Eagles is still in the news.
Good evening, Jerry, and good evening to our viewers. It's a lot of conversation going. I saw some of the conversation online. I was like, okay, Victor Osimhen is still very much in the news. I think it's a Victor Osimhen week. You know, back and forth, a lot of clubs are talking about him. Agents are also talking about him. I don't know what the story is all about today, but then I'm looking forward to hearing from you, Jerry.
All right, looking forward to let the cat out of the bag, and of course, let's hit the ground running. Yesterday, we talked about Sunday Ogochukwu, the former coach of the Super Eagles of Nigeria, and of course, one man has countered him, talking about Bruno Oyemachi. The Super Eagles defender has publicly backed his national team coach, talking about Eric Chow, describing him as the right man for the job. His support comes in response to recent criticism by former international Sunday Olise, who opposed the hiring of a foreign coach and argued that local coaches could effectively lead the team. And Ikechukwu, you remember we talked about the history of Sunday Olise, his time with the Super Eagles, which was not even almost up to a year. I think he was brought in 2015. By 2016, he has already packed his bags, and of course, we all know how he controversially said he was chased by voodoo attacks and so on and so forth, blaming the NFF and so on and so forth. But now he says the local coaches would even do better than whatever Eric Chell is going to do. So he's already saying that Eric Chell, no matter what he achieves, it will not be as good as whatever a local coach would have achieved for this team.
Well, we have to actually look at this, story from different perspectives. The first is the fact that Sunday Ogochukwu is speaking from a place of, supporting his local friends or his, ex-teammates. Because I mean, most of our Super Eagles players, ex-Super International, are the ones that have actually managed Super Eagles, from Finidi to himself, to the big boss, the late big boss Ibn Keshi, to Osimhen Guavon, and to Samson Siasia, right? So yes, perhaps it's actually just standing in for them. But let's look at his antecedents again. Sunday Olise is one man who is known to actually talk tough, and that's exactly one of the reasons why he really didn't last long as a Super Eagles coach. Remember, when he came into the helm as a Super Eagles coach, one of the problems he had was with the big players, the likes of Mikel Obi and Code. He was trying to actually, force them to do his bidding. I mean, these guys have large ego, just like you. And then it was, a clash of ego. And at the end of the day, I mean, the players will always win in national team setting, especially when they're actually big players. Now, we're talking about the same manager, talking about the new man in power. I like the fact that Bruno Oyemachi, stepped up, even though he's not one of the biggest character in the team. I mean, someone needs to actually stand up for the manager. It shows that the manager is actually doing something right. It shows that there is this level of cohesion. It shows that the manager is also respecting the players. That's why someone is actually standing up for him. I hope to see in coming days a lot of other players come up and say, yes, we actually trust Eric Chell, but it's quite too early to say Eric Chell will not achieve anything. But yes, based on the number of games, competitive games he's played for the Super Eagles, we can actually say it's going to be a very tough one for him. Yes, we've qualified for the Nations Cup. He didn't take us to the Nations Cup. Now it is the World Cup. That's exactly where he's going to be judged. If he fails to lead the Super Eagles to the World Cup, then perhaps whatever it is that Sunday Olise is saying might just turn out to be true. We've had local coaches, and the big boss took us to the World Cup. Yes, we've had local coaches that have done it. So he has to just at least replicate what those ones have done, and then if he eventually make it to the World Cup and then go to the Nations Cup, perhaps make it to Nations Cup semi-final, then we can now be saying, okay, he has actually matched the record of Lukaku. But until he says that, I think Sunday it's actually Eric Shell's position to actually prove Sunday Ogojukwu is wrong.
All right, and of course, coming from his current player defending him, it shows that the players have already warmed up to Eric Chell, and fighting for him publicly, it already shows that these players are in love with what Eric Chell is doing, and they are excited and looking forward to a good future working under Eric Chell.
Absolutely. I mean, like I said before, for him to actually come out, it means Eric Chell has actually done something, psychologically. He has actually showed that, yes, we are a family. And, I mean, there's no way you're going to actually know players respect, their manager, except when, situations like this come up. You see them actually coming out, going all the way out for their manager. That's exactly when you know that, okay, this manager is actually more like a father at this point, and it's actually done something that, it's really worthy of emulating. That's exactly why they'll come up to speak. If it's actually a manager who has really not touched or impacts them, on a personal base, nobody would actually just come up to speak. I was even expecting one of the big players to actually come, the likes of Wilfred and the likes of Victor Osimhen and some other key players in national team. Bruno Metsu is still very much new in the Super Eagles, but kudos to him actually coming up to actually speak. I just hope that at the end of the day that this is actually going to bring more voice to actually stand up for the manager. I understand for the old ones, the old guards in the Super Eagles team, trying to be very careful about who to when to actually come up to speak, because at the end of the day some of these comments you make might actually boomerang. Some of them might be very careful with their words. That's exactly why many of them might not come out. But it's so good that someone has actually step up, and it shows that the manager has had a very positive impact in the team. That's exactly why we are having this conversation at this point.
All right, and of course it is what it is. Talking about the situation of Eric Sekochal and Mayowa, I don't know whether he has joined us eventually. Definitely, when he joins in, I would like him to throw some few points of wisdom as far as this one is concerned, because it looks like Eric Chell getting the backing of the players is already a good, would I say, it's a good omen for the Super Eagles.
Absolutely.
Because if you take a look at it, if the players are not really happy with him, Bruno Yemachi would not be bold enough to come out and counter whatever Sondelise is saying about their current coach. So we hope that this also pans out in terms of getting good results for the team eventually. And still talking about the Super Eagles, okay, we understand that Mayowa is with us. Mayowa, it's great to have you join us on Locker Room. I know you've been in the transfer scene looking for more players for Manchester United, but we have to take just 1 hour of your time. I know it's difficult, but please come to us on Locker Room. I know you have enjoyed Kuhan's signing too long. You are looking for new players, but it is what it is. We're just talking. I don't know. Do you get to looking at me? It's not my fault. It's not my fault. Anyway, I can't wait. We'll get to that part of the show. Anyway, Mayowa, great to have you join us.
Well, it's always amazing to be here. A whole lot of football to talk about. Manchester United still on the rebuilding process, and we've not been finding it easy. But in any case, we push on. It's not the end for Manchester United. Like one popular song we say, meaning that's not the end. We'll continue to push and see exactly how we are going to succeed as a team. But in any case, it's a great way to talk football, a lot of football to talk about. It's always amazing to be here, Jerry. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, this is what Manchester United does to you. It turns you to a choir master. You start illustrating. But it is what it is. That will be a story for that day. How you discover your choir master talent all of a sudden. But it is what it is. Let's talk about yesterday. We remember we spoke about Sunday Olise criticizing the fact that, saying that it's better to use local coaches over foreign coaches, already saying that Eric Chell should not have been given the job. And of course, he made mention of the fact that Eric Chell, even among the foreign coaches, should not be the standard. But now Bruno Yemachi, who is a defender under coach Eric Chell, has come out to say that he disagrees with Olise. What does this say about, does it look like Eric Chell has warmed up to these players and they believe in his capacity to lead the team to great heights?
Well, the thing is this, if you want to be part of the Super Eagles, definitely you have to respect your coach and you have to queue behind your coach. Even sometimes if you don't agree with what he does. I mean, a typical example, the game against Zimbabwe, we all saw the flaw in, we all saw the flaw in that particular game. I mean, if he were to be an experienced coach, he would have been able to manage that game better and would have been able to, go away with the full 3 points rather than conceding a goal. Yes, in as much as, Bruno Yemachi wants to get on the good side of, Eric Chell. Eric Chell should get some credit also. I mean, I was one of those that said the moves he made when he was given the job shows that, I think he has something, to write home about when it comes to man management. And if your man management skill is very, very good, if it's top notch, you have players, willing to die for you. You have players, putting their names on the line to defend you. And that's what we are seeing so far. Olise cannot say that he has a very poor man management skill. And that is the reason why, he didn't last on the Nigerian job. Even his job with, the Dutch side, it was because he couldn't manage the board of the club he was coaching. That was why he had to leave that particular club. So, I mean, in as much as if you look at the experience and the rest of that, Eric Chell should never be the choice that, a Super Eagles brand will go for. However, the moves Eric Chell has made so far, in terms of man management now, I'm not talking about the on-field play because the on-field play still looks a bit suspect. But however, his man management skill, I think, is top-notch. And that's the reason why, Bruno Yemachi will come out to his defense.
Yeah, definitely. We want to look at it that way. Okay, and still talking about the Super Eagles, the first choice goalkeeper of the under-20 team of Germany, talking about Noah Atubolu, has explained why he's motivated to play for Germany ahead of the senior national team of Nigeria, who are reportedly keen on having him. Born to a Nigerian father and a German mother, the 23-year-old is eligible for both nations at senior level, and last season, after a breakthrough performance, his international future became a hot topic, with Nigeria pushing for him to switch his allegiance to the Super Eagles. And if you take a look at the lineup of goalkeepers he's up against Manuel Neuer, Marc-Andre ter Stegen, Oliver Baumann, and Stefan Ortega. But if you take a look at it, maybe because he's still young, the man is still ambitious. But I think somebody needs to tell Atubolu the truth as far as his chances of playing for the German national team is concerned. Maiwa. Hello, Maiwa, can you hear me? Yeah. All right, Ikechukwu, what's the situation for Atubolu? Because he's 23 now, age is on his side. I hope when he gets to 30, 33, he will not start begging the Super Eagles.
Well, we really need to understand his emotions as a person first. I mean, this is why players like Bukayo Saka and other players who have refused to actually play for the Super Eagles, I really don't find fault in them, because before you actually decide to play for a country or a group of people, you have to have these emotional ties. That's exactly why before they actually make this move, they have to actually look at who will be watching me. Are my friends there? Are my family there? Do I have any emotional connection with people over there? These are the things, because these are the people you actually, at the micro level, these are the people you represent in the broader scale. So when they go into that game, these are the people they actually reflecting on, because whatever happens, if they actually bring smile to the nation, they're actually looking at these people first. So I mean, he's actually saying it. His mom is a German. I know how mother and son relationship can always be, right? And this guy actually grew up in Germany. There's no emotional connection with Nigeria. So him deciding to stick to his German root, I don't think there's any issue with it. It goes back to what we were saying. Let's start developing our own here. I mean, there's no reason why. I mean, the likes of Rufai and Vincent Inyama, they started their career here, and they became one of the very best in Africa, at the peak of their career. So who says we cannot have another top quality goalkeeper, like those ones again? I mean, Stanley Nwabali is also doing very well. So it's not about whether we cannot actually get the very best of goalkeeper. It's for us to now create the enabling environment that's going to bring this stop, so that we'll stop looking at players born in Europe or other parts of the world to come represent us, because this has always been the problem. And this side of foreign poach approach that we've adopted over the years is actually killing our development. We should really now circle back and look at what we should start the deficiency we have as regards infrastructure and the problem that is making our league not develop, so that we can actually solve all of this problem once and for all. But for his choice, I respect it. Like I said, it is only who you are actually emotionally connected to that you'll be willing to actually bleed for. We don't want a player who will just come because he fails to actually cut it from the particular country where he was born, and then there's no emotional connection. He just come here to just be part of the national team. Like we saw the likes of Shola and Miobi and Co, who just came to the Super Eagles, very much at the toilets of their career. I don't know why we actually even allowed him actually, join Super Eagles very on later. But then we want people who can actually look back and say, yes, I'm actually playing for this group of people, and I want, to actually bleed for them.
All right, it is what it is. Let's see how that pans out as far as that one is concerned. Manoa, we're just talking about Atubolu. The 23-year-old says he wants to play for Germany over Nigeria. And age is still on his side. Maybe nobody is telling him. I hope when he gets to 30, 35, he will not start looking for a Super Eagles chance.
It's very good that he has come out to say it. Like Kechuku said, I don't have anything against any foreign-born Nigeria that wants to play for whoever, whether you want to play for Nigeria or whatever it is. However, my concern has always been making Nigeria a second chance. He has come out now, in local parlance, they will say he pour pepper for his eyes. He has come out now to pour pepper in the eyes of Nigeria while they are trying to get him, and said he wants to play for Germany, which is fine and good. However, remember, there are a whole lot of competition ahead of him. Is this certain he's going to get, is this certain that he's going to nail the number one shirt down for the German national side? I hope when the time passes, about 3-4 years passes, he's already 27. I hope he will not come back and say he wants to play for Nigeria. That would be so annoying, because he had the opportunity now. Nigeria is even after him, and he has made the decision that he wants to play for Germany. I will only want to wish him good luck. However, this goes a long way to telling us something as a country. We are over 200 million. We should not make the Super Eagles project, a foreign-born project. There is no reason why we have 7 players that in our starting 11 that are foreign-born, that are not groomed from Nigeria here. We need to do something about that, such that we are spoiled for option. We have a whole lot of options, and even the foreign-born players, anytime we beckon on them to come and play, they will know that it's not because of lack of talent. It's because we just want them to be part of the national team, and they even jump at that opportunity. I hope we're able to fix this issue rather than relying on building our team around foreign-born Nigerian players.
All right, it is what it is. All right, let's get to the big story, where respected transfer journalist talking about Alfredo Pedula has described Victor Osimhen as one of the most complicated footballers in recent transfer history. Despite receiving a massive offer from Saudi club Al Hilal, 35 million per season, potentially rising to 40 million with bonuses, the Nigerian striker turned it down, expressing a strong desire to continue playing in Europe. And Osimhen, who spent last season on loan at Galatasaray and helped them win both the league and cup, is expected to leave Napoli permanently this summer. However, his indecisiveness has made the transfer process unpredictable. Pedula noted that Osimhen frequently changes his mind, making it difficult for clubs to finalize a move. So far, no major European club has submitted an official bid, though Juventus remains a possible destination. I beg your pardon. And Pedula also pointed out that Galatasaray is still hopeful for a return, but the deal is financially challenging. Juventus' chances were strong when sporting director Guntoli was still at the club, but there remains some hope even now. Okay, coming from the other time was an agent, now someone who's been monitoring transfer scene in Europe is saying that with the sources he's been getting, Osimhen has made a lot of changes, changing his mind at the last minute and so on and so forth. Yeah, I know indecision is the problem. That's what I've always said. That Osimhen does not really have someone in his corner who he listens to, who gives him the right advice. And that is one big challenge for every big footballer, because making a decision to switch to one club to the other is a major decision. And I think at the time when he was struggling at Wolfsburg, maybe he still had something. You know, we know he had injuries, he would not succeed at Germany, and for an injury spell for a while before he made the move to France. And we didn't hear all of these issues. He moved to France successfully. He did well at Lille. Successfully moved to Napoli. But now all of a sudden he's in Napoli. It looks like that structure is no longer there. He's now on his own. Maybe because he believes now he has arrived. He now knows better. And he believes he wants to make the decision for himself. And now we are seeing what is happening.
Well, Jerry, if we go back to Wolfsburg, you realize that he just won the Under-17 World Cup at the point. So still very quite young. I mean, he's still trying to actually get over the euphoria of playing in Europe at that point. He really doesn't even understand what's happening to him at that point. So, and his body really needs a lot of readjusting to the weather and co. That was what knocked him, the injuries and the like that he suffered right there in Germany. Of course, knowing that Germany is a way more competitive terrain than France. So then he moved from Germany to France. And then the story, became, green. And from France, like you said, he moved to Italy. The thing is, right, when he got to France, he became mature, he became aware. He moved to Italy. He saw his value, right? I mean, the money in Napoli cost a lot of money to actually bring him to Italy. So that says a lot about him. So at that point, right, I think this is where I'm going to really agree with you, because it says a lot about the father figure here at this point, right? Sometimes you might have a father and still not have the father figure in your career. And this is one thing I was talking about Mike Tyson the other day, where
he didn't have such in his corner.
He made a lot of mistakes. Yes, and Mike Tyson had one at some point, Constantine D'Amato, who was actually the father figure until the man died in '85. After the man died, Mike Tyson, in fact, in his documentary, he was talking about how if D'Amato was very much at his corner, a lot of mistakes he made, he wouldn't have made it, because the man was always there to put him right. Osimhen clearly does not have that person, because when a player keeps changing his mind, it says something about his calm. It says that he's like you used the word like yesterday, alpha and omega. He's the one who decide, and the truth is this, right?
The judge and the jury.
Yes, and the truth is this, that any player who wants to succeed, no matter how big you are, there are certain persons who must call the shot as regards transfer for you. As big as Ronaldo is, as big as Messi is, people still call the shot for them as regards transfer.
Yeah, you see, sometimes they say they want to meet their family.
Yes,
to make a decision.
To make a decision. So when you keep changing your mind, it says a lot about it. And people who actually have interest in you start seeing you, see you as an unserious person.
And because the thing is that even as young as these footballers are, sometimes they go offline.
Yes.
And the club side would love to have somebody they can speak to, who can hold you, him back. And they say, okay, this your agent can hold you and tell you this is not how to do it. And
I'll tell you something. Mikel Obi, when Mikel joined Chelsea, I think his first birthday party, he was spending a lot in club in London. And a phone call was put across to John Shitu. And it was like, John Shitu, this young man is spending, someone who is very much around the Chelsea, this guy is spending too much, he's celebrating his birthday. Call him to order. John Shitu spoke to him, and John Shitu called Mikel's father. And that was the end of it. Mikel never went that far to celebrate his birthday again. So these are the people who can actually put Mikel to check. I don't think Osimhen clearly has that power.
That kind of
I don't think so.
And that could be his undoing. Mayowa, I think taking a look at this perspective, there's a deep issues as far as Osimhen's transfer. I think it's not only about him being a big player alone. I don't know the support structure, whether it's going to take him as far as it's supposed to, because at this time, Osimhen should not even be struggling making a decision to even get a big club side. Yeah, fine, his transfer fee might be huge. I didn't really have a support structure. I said, okay, let's take this. Sometimes you give an advice. I said, okay, why not take a cut and have a clause in the agreement?
If
I
do this,
score 25 goals this season,
they do it.
You bump my money to so and
they do it all of the time.
Who are those people in the corner? Who are in the ears of Victor Osimhen? Marwa?
Well, it's very simple. There is a need for Osimhen to find somebody to manage him. And that is the reason why a whole lot of top agents will not touch Osimhen, will not go to Osimhen. If you are fond of changing your mind, you can change your mind at any time according to what the top agent has said. No serious agent that can go in and close this. Remember that all these agents sometimes they close the deal with their name on your behalf. And if I'm putting my name on the line for you, and the next minute you are changing your mind and saying you don't want to go again, I've spoiled the relationship with that particular club. And that's the reason why top agents will not go there, because the kind of performance Osimhen has put in, top agents should be drooling around him. They should be falling over to want to get him in their corner, because obviously the kind of performance he has put in is going to bring more money to the agents. We all know what the agents are after. They're always after their own cut, right? With the performance, top agents will be drooling over him to get him so that they will get that particular cut. But because of his indecisiveness, he doesn't have a proper structure around him. And that will hamper his career. In all fairness, if he doesn't secure a better move right now, I think, and I'm not wishing him bad. I really sincerely hope Osimhen succeeds. He's still very young. He needs to succeed. This should not be the end of his career. If he doesn't get a lucrative move right now, I think his stocks begins to fall right now, because when there are nobody to advocate for you, places you cannot get to, then how do big clubs get to you? It's high time Osimhen needs to pipe down and get a proper management team around him. Remember when the issue of the ranting on social media and just one of the things that we said at that particular point in time was he needs a proper PR team that will handle his image. He doesn't have that, and you cannot do everything by yourself. You cannot be the, like Jerry said, you cannot be the alpha and omega of your career. You don't have that connection as a player to make that move yourself. Osimhen doesn't have the kind of connection Kevin De Bruyne have, that he can go in and negotiate contract by himself. Osimhen doesn't have that kind of connection. He doesn't have that kind of power. So the people that have the power, you have to find a way to get them to manage you, and that is not happening. I hope somebody is able to get through to him. I hope those that discover him when he was still a coach now, a young player, I hope they can get through to him and to him for him to come down. If he goes this route, that might be the end of the career of Osimhen, and it will be so unfortunate from number 10 in the world to nowhere in the world.
All right, very interesting as far as that is concerned. But the interesting news as far as Victor Osimhen is concerned, we understand that there's a report that Liverpool are preparing a bold move to sign the Nigerian striker by offering Darwin Núñez and Federico Chiesa to Napoli in a swap deal. And the Premier League champions view Osimhen as a crucial addition to the attack and hope his goal-scoring prowess will ease the burden on Mohamed Salah. With Arne Slot not at the helm, the Reds are actively reshaping their forward line following Núñez's underwhelming performances and Chiesa's persistent fitness issues. Yeah, this looks like a good read, but with the fact that the fixtures in December is coming up, I don't know how Osimhen, because he's going to be going to the Nations Cup alongside Mohamed Salah, it will be dangerous to have two major attackers not in that Premier League side defending the Premier League title. But on paper, whether you look at it or not, Mohamed Salah, Victor Osimhen in an attack, that's going to be a very deadly one going into any Premier League season.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I mean, if it happens, if this deal eventually pulls through, it means that Liverpool will be having two of their key marksmen missing 11 games in the season. It says a lot about how Liverpool is going to actually manage their goal, the people who are their major goal threats all through that number of games, and which position in the league will they be at the point when this guy return? What's going to be their chance of retaining the Premier League title? These are the options Liverpool will sit down and have. I mean, they will think about all of these things and look at the possibility of losing this guy. Is the league losing? They will ask themselves, losing the league, is it a priority for us? Is the Champions League what we should be chasing? If we lose the league, does it really matter? Even if we just let's eventually just make top four. If they look at all of the conditions, they can. It's okay. Let's stick to it. Let's get Victor Osimhen. But then it's going to be good for him if he eventually makes this move. Like what I was saying earlier, if he fails to make major move this season, his stock would drastically drop. Now, this is the reason why it's going to drop. Galatasaray, yes, they are the champions of Turkish league. Turkish league is not the top 5 leagues in Europe. I mean, they say iron sharpened iron. Whatever quality of football Victor Osimhen is playing in Turkey now, is actually playing at the lowest of his level. Trust me. If he moves to a more serious league in Europe, it's going to really tell in his game, because the quality of defenders is going to. We saw how Mbappe actually really struggled when he moved to Spain, right, before he finally got his goal scoring, because he met defenders that are way better than what he's used to in France. So it's definitely going to affect his career. If he spends 2 seasons in Turkey, move to mainstream Europe, it's going to really affect him. And when he makes those sort of moves, clubs will not be that patient to look at him and give him that long time to actually play, get back to form. And if he moves to a top team, definitely there is going to be a competition. Except he's definitely going to be moving from Turkey to a team that is a middle table team, and that's not also going to be helpful for his career. So this is the best time for him to move, and if he makes this move now, then of course he's definitely going to hit the summit.
All right, now we understand that Liverpool's first move will be for Isak, talking about the Newcastle United striker. And it's going to be difficult to tell Newcastle to let go of Isak, because they're playing the Champions League next season, and they want their number one firepower as far as challenging in the Champions League is concerned. But it will now be left for Liverpool to start looking for options as well. But Osimhen at Liverpool, what do you think?
Well, I think the deal for Isak might go through, and the reason is this: I don't think Newcastle is that ambitious in terms of how in terms of the money they've spent so far. Last season, they only spent £70 million, and Isak literally dragged them to where they are. There's no consistency, and if Isak wants to win anything, and he doesn't want to behave like Ayok, where he has won the Carabao Cup, if he wants to, compete for major titles, he needs to leave Newcastle to go to the top clubs in England, and probably, that might be an avenue for Liverpool to lure him in. However, we don't know the plans of Newcastle at the moment. They might have spoken to the guy. There were news that he wanted to leave last season, and they had to convince him to stay. So probably they might have shown him the project that they want to embark on. Maybe Anik will say. Now, to the issue of Osimhen, I think Ikechukwu said something that's very, very important, and I hope that will not be considered. I mean, the Nations Cup is from middle of December to middle of January. And probably maybe Osimhen and Salah will probably miss about 6 or 7 games. Can Liverpool do without them in those 7 games? I think the best move for Osimhen right now, since he's fond of changing his mind, and one other big club is interested in him, is to go to Liverpool. But the big question is this: will Liverpool be willing to let go 2 of their top strikers in December? Unless maybe they sign an Osimhen, join a Mohamed Salah, then they keep it down next January. When Osimhen comes back, they let him go. That's the only reason why I see the move. I think the move for Isak is much more visible than that of Osimhen, based on the fact that Osimhen will be off for a month, and that 1 month might be critical in the title race at the end of the day.
All right, definitely very critical things to look at. But if you ask me, if they sign Osimhen alongside Salah, and of course you have Florian Wirtz, Kekes, and Frimpong joining that team. You also have Cody Gakpo and Diogo Jota. I'm really excited that they can offer them Darwin Núñez. Even they can add Jota to Darwin Núñez and Chiesa, and even still add money and no care. Let them get Victor Osimhen. I think that will be a statement as far as the title race in England is concerned for Liverpool.
It's going to be a statement, but what you should be considering is the fact that there's a Man City with Haaland and Mamouche, right? Now, if you have your key players in 1 month, this is your major goal threat outside 1 month, it's going to really cost you a lot. It's really going to cost you a lot. Trust me.
Not to worry, we'll recover. They will score 25 goals. I know in Salah I trust.
Okay.
Osimhen, you don't even want to go there.
No problem.
No matter where they would have scored enough. Because this Man City side, fine, with all due respect, I'm still skeptical about going into next season. But then, Maiwa, you want to say something?
Well, I think Man City is in a rebuilding process, and the league next season will be very, very interesting. Let me shock you next season. If you lose 3 games next season, or draw about 6 games next season, you are not winning.
You're not winning the league.
The league. With there's a Chelsea too that is always that wants to try and punch above their weight. There are a whole lot of clubs in the top 6 region that are reinforcing, and Man City wants to come back with a with a huge statement. So it will be very important that you hold on to your key stars. And remember, the Nations Cup is between December and January. And you know how much game are jam-packed in December period
9
to
games.
January.
9 games
So,
for December.
I mean, so if you lose ground in those 9 games, my brother, you are not winning the league. So it's better that Liverpool assess the risk very well and see if they can have, a stopgap measure that can be able to step up should they sign Osimhen. If the stopgap measure can step up and do the job that they expect Osimhen and Salah to do. If not, Liverpool will not win that league because December and January for next season will determine where the league will go to at the end of the season.
You know, the funny thing is this, right? When you don't have your key attackers attacking, definitely your defense will have to do a lot of work. And it's just a matter of time they will definitely crack. And if they don't even crack by conceding goals, they will get injured. That's just the funny reality of football these days. And this Liverpool side, right? If they don't have those key players, I don't know if maybe you're expecting the likes of Frimpong and Keke to get you the goals. But they will not do anything.
There's Cody Gakpo. Cody Gakpo is also a goal scorer.
Jerry.
We have Diogo Jota.
Jerry.
There's also a Florian Wirtz. You are forgetting the most expensive British signing right now.
I pray this deal.
Florian Wirtz.
I pray this deal pulls through. So we'll see what happens in December.
If they sign Osimhen, it's not going to be the only sign. They're still going to
Jerry, you know that if they come after the Nations Cup, they'll still give them a few days rest because they're not just going to throw them into the ring.
You're not going to rest now. With that money, you're going to be paying Osimhen.
After the Nations Cup,
the money
okay, what about Salah? What about Salah?
The money you're paying Salah, you go and rest.
So after the Nations Cup, you throw him back into the ring.
Yes. You are going straight to the. Even though as your plane is landing, you warm up.
That means you don't even want Salah to finish the season because Salah is definitely going to get injured.
Don't worry, Salah is capable. He has proven it before. So don't worry.
Also, there's a possibility that they get knocked out in the first round. So who knows? They might even go to the Nations Cup
and spend 2 weeks and come back. It happened to Egypt.
So I mean.
No,
it's a possibility.
This time around,
however,
they will not get knocked out in the first round. They'll get to the semi-final.
You are starting your Real BG prophecy. That doesn't
they will
work.
get to the semi-final.
This is your boss stop prophecy. That doesn't work. Please, don't even go there. Anyway.
And Jota are that good. Why are they going after Osimhen?
Leave Jerry now.
He had the stop gap now. Calm down. Stop gap.
Stop gap.
That's what they've been doing before now. Gakpo has been doing it as well as Jota. Last season, at least, he still gave us good number of goals for a winger who has been playing from different wings in the attack. He has played both middle and even as a support striker.
When you say good number of goals, how many goals did he give you?
At least I think he scored more than 8-10 goals last season.
So for a player that was on fire before he joined Liverpool, 8-10 goals is good number of goals.
Yeah, at least if he's giving that number of goals alongside Salah, I think it's still fair.
We are saying Salah will be out. We are saying Salah will be out for a month. So he will be giving you 8 goals at the end of the season.
Calm down. If he gives me 8 goals, within those
periods, you will be holding on to straw. You will be holding on to straw next season.
Frimpong is there. Keke is also a goal scorer. Yes, he's a goal scoring fullback.
I know you're about to say this thing.
Yes, now.
So you're relying on Keke to score.
Frimpong add goals. Florian Wirtz will add goals.
Are they better goal scorer than Arnold?
Add goals.
Are they better goal scorer than Arnold? Those two guys.
Frimpong. We have not seen him yet in the
Premier League. You saw him now. You saw him before you joined. I'm talking about
the German league. He's not playing for a bigger team. A team that is established.
What I'm saying is, is he a better goal scorer than Arnold?
We have not seen him in the Premier League playing for a better side. So until he plays one season, then I will now say that.
I was expecting you to throw in your political hat. No
problem.
problem.
As a left back, he's a good successor for Robertson. He knows how to score and he can also assist. So fantastic signing.
So you rely on them for goals, when Salah and
yes, of course. Even when Salah is there or not. So just calm down. Farabale.
No problem.
Don't worry. Talking about the Premier League, the fixtures are out. Arsenal face a tougher start to the 2025-2026 Premier League season with a challenging set of opening fixtures. Their campaign kicks off away at Manchester United on the 17th of August, the first time since 2022-2023 they begin on the road, and the Gunners will then welcome newly promoted Leeds United to the Emirates before heading to Anfield to take on Liverpool at the end of August. And after the season's first international break, Arsenal return to host Nottingham Forest and defending champions Manchester City in consecutive games, followed by a trip to Newcastle United. And October brings a run of all London clashes against West Ham, Fulham, and Crystal Palace. I think the story would have been more interesting if we come from the angle of the games Manchester United will be taking. Because for me, I don't think that first game is a tough game. Old Trafford is there for the taking. My we understand.
Hey, now.
So Arsenal should not be worried. They should come there with three points in their minds to go back home with. So, but I think it's even more disturbing for Ruben Amorim. Yes, Amorim should be more worried because your first test in a team that is still struggling, you are still trying to rebuild, going into a new season after battling relegation the past season and losing the final Europa League. You are facing the number 2 team last season in Arsenal, and Arsenal is not really happy at the moment. They are really angry, and Goyo Kores might be available in that game, and he might want to prove himself in his debut. I feel for Andrew Onana. I feel for Harry Maguire. Who's that other defender? Yuri Yeliyero. It's going to be fire and brimstone at Old Trafford.
But let me shock you.
Okay.
There is a particular Nottingham Forest that battled relegation the season before, and the next season they were punching above their weight. Yes, we had a terrible season. I was one of those that said Amorim shouldn't have joined in the middle of the season, and he has about 2-3 months to tweak things around. I don't think we'll perform as bad as we did last season next season. I think it's going to be an interesting game, and I will not write Manchester United off in the title race. I told you yesterday when we were talking off show.
Is it MPFL?
Yeah, I told you yesterday
when you are talking title, you have to be sure
that
please
Manchester United will be competing for the EPL next season.
EP what? We're not talking about, it's not video game. We're not talking about
I know.
We're not talking about PlayStation. We are talking about real football on the pitch, 11-11.
Yeah, we can do it.
Who's your first 11 first of all? Let me look at the joke. Who's the goalkeeper that's going to challenge for the title?
Onana will leave. Another keeper will come in.
Who is he going to? Does Manchester United look like they go to replace Onana before the transfer window closes? Answer the question, because it looks like Onana is going to be your number 1. As far as Onana is your number 1, your chances of winning the Premier League has gone from 100 to 40%. You now take a look at the defense. You see Lisandro Martinez.
So are you saying
age is no longer on the side?
Are you saying Onana is not good enough to be a championship winning side goalkeeper?
He is a relegation battling goalkeeper.
He won the league with Inter Milan.
That's it before now. I get him before. Man United has exposed him. Has showed that he's no longer there.
Jerry, transfer window is still very much open. United.
You sign Kun and you rest. Mbeumo is using you to dance between Tottenham. You and Tottenham are struggling.
Jerry, relax. Relax.
I see. Do I look like I'm panicking? I think I'm comfortable.
Transfer window is still very much open. You just need to take it easy.
Okay.
It's still very much open. The Club World Cup, a lot of players will be. United will be scouting for a lot of players.
Is it the Auckland players you are scouting? Because the other established teams in that Club World Cup will not send their players to Manchester United.
Must it be from an established team?
Okay.
Is Kekes from established team? The Kekes you got, is it from an established team?
At least he has proven himself
in the Premier League. That's what we are saying now.
If Man United is asking for his services now, and Liverpool is on the table, do you think he will even consider? He will say, "Man United, please don't scatter my career."
What I'm saying is,
okay,
transfer is still very open, and players will still move. Right.
Which of the players? That's the question.
You
can still sign another Jadon Sancho. Anthony can still come back.
When it unfolds,
you can tell
Jerry,
the other striker you said
are you Man Sporting director?
Why
are you pointing out? You're pointing and picking. You're pointing and picking like someone in a local bar. Point and
the handwriting is on the wall.
What?
The handwriting on the wall says that Manchester United chance of signing players in the transfer window is getting dimmer by the day.
How?
Because
when is transfer closing? When is that transfer?
They're not making move.
Transfer is closing in September. Jerry, wait. So we are still in June, though.
You are the same person.
Jerry, calm down now.
This young man, I like you very well. When the table turns around, you are always comfortable at that side. But when it turns to the other side, you move over.
Jerry, calm down.
See, stop.
We are still in June. Transfer is in the ends in September.
In that game against Arsenal, do you have confidence that Manchester United is going to beat Arsenal?
Jerry.
Going into that game with what you have seen so far. Man United plays Arsenal today.
Unfortunately, United is not playing Arsenal today.
Yeah.
Right.
Fortunately for Man United.
Unfortunately for the conversation we're having.
Okay.
Right. Arsenal is not playing United today.
Okay.
And we still have over 2 months before that particular game. Now, the interesting thing about this particular game is this. Before that game, a lot of
less than 2 months. So.
Okay, less than 2 months. Just a day less than 2 months.
Yeah.
A day less than 2 months.
Yeah.
So,
less than 2 months.
So, interesting thing about games like that is we can have all the conversations now, but if to that game, a lot of things might happen.
Like what?
The player, in fact,
going to sign Osimhen.
No, not even Osimhen. The mood the players will be coming in into that. I'm talking about Arsenal players. They might not be in the right spirit into that game.
Which Arsenal will not be the right spirit?
Jerry, leave this thing.
Which Arsenal?
We all predicted. Jerry, we all predicted.
After they lost the league last season.
Jerry, we all predicted a slim scoreline between PSG and Inter Milan Champions League final. What did we get? Jerry, it's football. Leave this thing you are saying.
PSG.
Did you see 5-0 coming?
You are talking about big boys.
Did you see 5-0 coming? Jerry, wait now.
PSG, this is a PSG
Jerry,
style.
did you see 5-0 coming?
This is a PSG style and maintain consistency.
Did you see 5-0 coming?
I think I was not surprised. But I didn't see it coming. But I was not surprised.
Nobody saw it coming. See, Jerry.
The only surprise that will happen on that day is if Manchester United beats Arsenal.
Man may not beat Arsenal. Man may not, but it might just end in a draw.
This is a team that is going to win the league.
It doesn't. Sometimes your first game might not even decide what happens.
See, anyway, let me not even waste my time on Man United because I already know what's going to happen. But I just feel for the man who is in charge, Ruben Amorim, because
trust the process.
Which process?
Don't worry.
That's what they said with Eric Ten Hag. At least Ten Hag, there was still hope. He was winning FA Cup this time around. And relegation is now the end of. Is now the discussion you're having. You are trusting the process of relegation. It's all good.
United's 2 games against Arsenal. United's 2 games against Arsenal this season. Yeah. As bad as United, as bad as that team was, the 2 games against Arsenal last season, United didn't play terribly in those games.
I know that I never believed that there will be a day where Europa League final will be an achievement. I never knew that.
It's an achievement now for a struggling side. I mean, we were
second biggest European competition.
You cannot make
Jerry.
European competition.
King of comeback.
Liverpool struggle to win Europa League. They dumped out by Atlanta.
I read the struggle to win Europa League. I like being struggling to win Europa League and win.
You also lost the Europa League final. You lost the Europa League final.
Yes, and win Premier League and win Champions League. If I have 20 Premier League titles, I have 6 Champions League trophy. I'm good. If the history tells me that I lost Europa League final, I'm okay with that.
I also have 20 Premier League titles. So if history says
how many Champions League do you have?
I have 3.
3. See, Bafo guy.
How many FA Cups do you have?
How many FA Cups?
How many FA Cups?
Bafo guy. FA Cup and Champions League are them it.
Oh, see.
What Champions League we swallow 10 FA Cup titles?
True.
What are you saying? Even the prestige.
Jerry.
What are you saying?
Jerry, what I'm telling you.
I understand your pain.
But Jerry, but Jerry, remember it took you 35 years to get to title 20.
Don't worry.
So what says
21 is already here, so calm down.
Who's 21?
He's coming.
You think that's in PGMOL they'll do it this season?
PGMOL on it, let them help us next season. They are still available. PGMOL has not expired. Have they been sacked?
They will not do it next season. That's what I'm saying.
No, they are still there. They're still the same PGM. Don't worry, they will help us again this season. And I would like you to encourage them, please. Encourage them to try it again this season. There's nothing bad on stopping one season. But time really fast spent. We understand that even Mohamed Salah could miss as many as 7 games next season due to the African Cup of Nations. Now it depends on how they're able to manage it. Without Mohamed Salah, the title race for Liverpool is going to be
even with Mo Salah, Liverpool is not retaining this league title.
Calm down. Who is going to take it now away from Liverpool? There's Florian Wirtz. You are forgetting.
Manchester United.
No problem. No problem.
Maiwa, please. I think we'll have a 5 minutes comedy segment so that we explain how Manchester United will win the league title. So that I will laugh. I will go to the audience side. I will start laughing because the explanation.
The bookies gave Man City the league before he started this season. This league you won.
At least that Booker is sounding like correct.
So what happened? They struggled to make top 4.
But they still made it.
No, I'm telling you, you are looking at the team backed by PGMOL to get one league after 5 years.
I think Man City season will be 10 successful compared to Manchester United in next 100 years. Yes, we'll still be successful. The relegation team and the team who made Champions League next season. Talk about revenue they are going to make. You are not making a revenue next season. You are going to be causing liability for the owner of the club.
You are correct.
The club is going to be spending more money because now it will spend money to rebuild the team, spend money to try and recover losses and so on and so forth. Man United is a debit card. It's a liability at the moment for any owner. So calm down. Anyway, that's all wrap it up. Thank you, Mayoma. Thank you, Chico, for being part of the show. And thank you guys for being awesome, talking about our guys behind the scene. And up next is Political Lens with Chukwuma Okoro. My name is Jerry Apelohai, saying stay safe, and if not waiting at all, read the sports.